Hello class, sorry I can't be there today. We are going to review chapter 2 really quick, and then tomorrow you will have your midterm exam. So tomorrow we'll have about 35 multiple choice questions covering chapters 1, 2, and 3. We did chapter 1 on Friday. You just had a test on chapter 3 last week and you did great on it. So today chapter 2, tomorrow midterm. First thing we're going to look at here is the midpoint. Midpoint formula is right here. This is something you will probably want to write on your yellow note sheet because it will not be given to you on the test. So what you're going to do is x always comes first, y always comes second. So you just label them x1, y1, x2, y2. And then you're going to plug it in. So you add the x's, 2 plus negative 6 divided by 2. Add the y's together, 8 plus 2, and divide by 2. And then you just simplify. 2 plus negative 6 is negative 4. 8 plus 2 is 10. And then you divide by 2. So your answer is going to be negative 2, 5. So that's how you find the midpoint. Midpoint, remember, just means it's a point in the middle. It's in the middle. So what's going to happen is if M is exactly in the middle of PV and this piece is 12, that means the other piece is also 12 because it's exactly in the middle. So both pieces have to be exactly the same. For like this one, B here, if the whole thing is 46 and you know that M is in the middle, it's cutting it exactly into 2 equal pieces. So half of 46, each piece would have to be 23. So MV would be 23. Then this guy here for C, this left piece is 20. The whole thing is 3x plus 10. If the left piece is 20, we know that the right piece is 20. And then it's exactly like what we did on Friday of last week. The 2 smaller pieces add up to equal the big. So 20 plus 20 equals the big piece, 3x plus 10. And then you just solve for x from there. So you get 40 equals 3x plus 10. Subtract the 10 from both sides. You get 30 equals 3x. And then divide by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X equals 10. Alright, and then if it asks you to find the other piece, PV, well, PV is 3 times x plus 10. 3 times x, which is 10, plus 10. You get 30 plus 10, so PV is 40. Alright, so that's kind of how those midpoint problems are going to work. One more midpoint problem. If you're given something like this, again, M is in the middle, so you know that these 2 pieces have to be the same. So if they're the same, another word, equal, you're going to set them equal to each other. Set 2x plus 14 equal to 7x plus 4. And then from there you can solve for x. Subtract 2x from both sides. You get 14 equals 5x plus 4. Subtract the 4. You get 10 equals 5x. And then you get x equals 2. And then you divide by 5. So x equals 2, and then if it asks you to find PV, which is this whole thing, you're going to have to plug it into both pieces. If you plug 2 into this piece, you get 2 times 2 plus 14. 4 plus 14, you get 18 for that piece. And then 7 times 2, it's going to be the same because we know that they're equal. So this piece is also 18. And then PV is 18 plus 18, or 36 all together. So those are midpoint problems. Maybe write those on your yellow note sheet too. Those are all the different possible types. Sometimes you set them equal, sometimes you add them up, set them equal to big. So you kind of have a variety of midpoint problems you'll run into. Another thing you might want to mention on your note sheet is complement adds up to be 90. And then supplement is the other word you'll see, and that adds up to be 180. So if it asks you for what the complement of 20 is, you just do 90 minus 20. You get 70 degrees because 20 plus 70 makes 90. Supplement of 20 just means what adds up to be 180 with 20. You can just subtract it if you need to. You get 160. Okay, so that's that. Bisect is another keyword you may want to write down. That means to cut in half. Cuts in half. So it's going to cut it into 2 equal pieces. When you have something like this, you may want to label your picture. Angle 1 is 2x. LJM, that's the big angle, is 60. All right, since we know that the big angle is being bisected, meaning it's cut in half, the one piece is 2x, so the other piece is also 2x. And then it's like Friday stuff. The 2 smaller angles add up to be the big. 2x plus 2x equals 60. And then from there, you just solve for x. So you get 4x equals 60. Divide by 4, you get x equals 15. So there's your answer to that problem. Let's see. Oh, and then it asks you for angle 2. Angle 2 is 2 times x, so you just do 2 times 15, or 30 degrees for that. All right, so that's the main vocab, and then the only other thing we did was we did vertical angles. Remember that vertical angles are angles that are kind of across from each other, like so, and vertical angles are equal. All right, so 2x is going to be equal to 70. Solve for x, you get 35. All right, so then if you have something like this, vertical angles are equal. So like 60 and angle 2, those are going to be the same. 40 and angle 4, those are going to be the same. And then to find the missing angle, like number 1, let's say, we know that all of this adds up to be 180. So if you kind of cover up the bottom part of the picture, it's half of a circle, or 180, and you're going to get 60 and 40 is 100, so what's left over? 80 degrees for angle 1. And then you can find angle 3, because these guys are vertical, and so angle 3 will be 80 as well. After that, we did hypothesis conclusion stuff with law of detachment, law of syllogism. This is a hypothesis. Everything after the word if, but before the word then. And then the conclusion is everything after the word then. It does not include the word if, and it does not include the word then. Law of detachment. Using law of detachment, what can you conclude? It says if 2 angles are a linear pair, then they're supplementary. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. In law of detachment, if the beginnings match, the hypotheses match, then you can conclude the conclusion. So we can conclude that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. All right, and don't forget, this will be a multiple choice test tomorrow, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then law of syllogism is where the end of the first matches the beginning of the second. It's talking about if 2 angles are right, then they're congruent. If they're congruent, then they have the same measure. So if the end of the first matches the beginning of the second, then you can link the very beginning with the very end. And you would write if 2 angles are right, then they have the same measure. Then they have the same measure. Sorry about that, that was not very good. All right, so that is chapter 2. Don't forget, midterm tomorrow. Good luck, be good for the sub, and do your chapter 2 packet, all of the problems, and the sub will have a key for you to check your answers. Okay, thanks.